I mean, we deserve that. It was painful. It was horrible. The season is now officially over. Manchester City suffered revenge at the hands of Man United. A 2-1 defeat in the FA Cup final. It fucking stings. Absolutely does sting. But weirdly, my head feels quite clear. I think that was a deserved ending to the season. I think weirdly that sort of was a sharp reminder that this season wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, if we're being totally honest. It was a good season. It was a great season, what we've achieved. 4 in a row is phenomenal. Super Cup, Club World Cup, we've won 3 trophies this season. But we'd be lying to ourselves. We'd be lying to ourselves if it had been perfect. If it was as good as last season. If it felt as smooth and as fluid and it felt as organised. It didn't. And today we saw those shortcomings sort of remind us that as good as it has been, as incredible it has been by anyone's standards, Super Cup, Club World Cup, 4 in a row, remarkable. It still wasn't perfect this year. It still wasn't. And weirdly, it might just be the best thing that ever happened to us. On to the performance. I'm going to give United credit. I mean, there was arguments with penalties here and there. I don't blame Manu for doing that. You get away with it all the time in Haaland. United defended really well. They did. They were up for it. City could not get going. United did nothing wrong. I can't begrudge them a victory in this instance. So there you go, United fans. Fair play. You were the better team. You deserved it. City did not deserve it. City didn't deserve it. It was a poor performance. We did not get going. The only guy who came out of that performance with any credit whatsoever was Jeremy Doku. The only man to do that. Why would that happen? I can't tell you the answer to that. I can speculate. I can only speculate from my own personal feelings, and I implore some of you to be introspective too. I'll get to your comments, by the way, at the end in your super chats. Just want to kind of get my thoughts out when I'm still feeling reasonably clear. And I implore you to be honest with yourself. Were you as nervous about this game as last season? I wasn't. I didn't have that same anxiety. And I can only ask myself why. And in my head, it's because we already beat them last season. And this season for me was all about 4 in a row. And as much as I wanted the double-double, I can't lie when I say that the thing that I was most anxious about as the season was coming to an end was getting that 4th title in a row. So I do wonder if the players felt a little bit of that. And I've seen players saying, it's okay, we won 4 in a row. I think there's a small part of that in the mentality of some players too. And I think it's natural human instinct to feel a little bit like you're aiming for something else. And I do wonder if the motivation or the eye was off the ball a little bit, or we felt like we achieved what we wanted to achieve. I don't ever doubt these players' professionalism. I just don't. These players are winners. These players have done so much. But I feel like today was everything that we feared would happen this season when it comes to complacency after a treble, where we've done so much that eventually there's only so far you can go before you need a slap in the face to get you going again. And I think that was the slap in the face today. I feel like we were due a disappointment of this level today. I wasn't as disappointed by the Madrid game because Real Madrid can do that to anyone. But I feel like today we were due this, given the season. This is what we were scared of at the start of the season. If I'm being honest with you, the fact that it came now, after we won those other 2 trophies and the Premier League, we got very lucky. We're a very lucky fan base. And this is the end of the season, so we can say it now. When you look back, and I know it might hurt right now and you feel raw, but I'm telling you this because it's the truth. I promise you. When you look back in a year or 2 time, maybe in a few months' time, what City have achieved this season, after what we did last season, it's very impressive to go and do that. That doesn't excuse today at all. But what I would argue is that a day like today was inevitable because these players are looking for new motivation, looking for new reasons to get going. Maybe they needed a bit of pain. Sometimes you need pain to move on and sort of face up your weaknesses and get going again. And I think this might be a slap in the face that maybe we do need. And I didn't feel as up for this as I did last season. I'm going to be honest with you. I still wanted to win. I still had the nerves and the sickness. But a small part of me was very much like, yeah, but I got what I wanted this season. And you'd be lying, I reckon, some of you, if you didn't feel the same. Of course, the derby made it spicier and it made it horrible and it does hurt. But I think we've got to be honest about the motivation for this team, you know, and what else we need to accomplish. And that's where I feel right now. I feel like today was one step too far in the chase for, you know, for glory. And I feel like when we start to look reflectively on the season, we'll go, a great accomplishments, but was it a great side? Probably not. Probably not. It felt like we were thrashing around for ideas and identity, and often leaning on the individual brilliance of Phil Foden, Rodri, De Bruyne when he was at his peak. People like that. We're leaning on magic moments as opposed to fluid football, and that doesn't mean we played terribly all season. We had some good moments. We absolutely did. And by the way, I'm reading your super chats. I'll get to them in a bit. Do not worry. I will get back to your super chats. And thank you for them coming in. It's appreciated. But I think if we're being honest, this season, what we got was as good as we could get because we weren't a good enough side to go any further in the Champions League. And we weren't good enough today to win the FA Cup. United wanted it more. They absolutely did want it more. And complacency is a dirty word. It implies the players don't care. I don't think complacency is always conscious. You know, sometimes it can be subconscious. And what I mean by that is like when you win as much as you do, if the edge isn't fully there, it was hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I don't think City didn't work hard as such, but I do feel the edge wasn't there. And the edge, that sharpness can be numbed and diluted by success and life being quite easy for you. And I think there's a small part of that. And that is human nature to do it. And as I've admitted in this video, I felt a little bit of that complacency in my head. It's only natural that some of these players would probably struggle to get going again. I felt weirdly, if we hadn't had that week off and if we played on the Tuesday, I think we would have won this game. But these players had a week to enjoy themselves, then get back in training, and I feel like they just couldn't get going again. And the start of it was so poor. And Pep made mistakes today. I was wrong, looking back. I was wrong in my assessment of the team. Pep maybe was a bit uncharacteristically sentimental. It should have been Diaz and Akanji. Ake's not played much, Stones has not played much, but he wanted them to play this game because he loves them. I get that. But actually, they weren't ready. It feels reductive just to point fingers at them, though. No one was good today, other than Doku. Rodri was quiet. 78 games unbeaten, now in an end. Phil couldn't get on the ball at all. One pass to Alvarez was not enough in a game of this magnitude. KDB had a stinker. And there are questions right now about KD's form. Specifically, the fact that the ball, he can't seem to control it. That is what's concerning me. He looks like his legs have gone a bit. Bernardo had an all-timer bad game. At one point, his best through ball was to Højlund, running the other way. Vardiel played like Danny Granville, left back. Walker infuriated me today. Kyle, I love you, mate. You're a Man City legend, but you are not a good captain. That's how I feel at times. Maybe he is. Maybe he got us to 4 in a row. Maybe I'm being unfair. There is always things that we don't see. We don't have the complete picture, so it's not fair of me just to, point fingers. But today, decision to moan and argue when Martinez was taking his time to come off the pitch to slow it down and get them up for it. It was just so annoying. And then to constant pop shots from long range. I know they're actually pretty decent, but it feels a bit like it's not the smart thing to do. And then as well, there's one pass at the end which is terrible. Then jogging back, it just annoys me, man. It just annoys me. I think today was a reminder that as good as this season has been, and I will not let one game cloud what we've seen. I would have killed for this just 10 years ago. Never mind 20 years ago. I would have killed for this 5 years ago. This is an incredible season by anyone's standards, but it wasn't perfect. I don't think we deserve perfection this season, but we deserve what we got. And I think United beat us fair and square. Their XG was better. They were the better side. They worked harder. They wanted it more. But I will forgive these City players. But I think this is a reminder to the board, to Pep, some of these players, you got to do better. We need fresh blood. And we need to find a way to motivate ourselves again next season. Suffer a little bit, then find another way to get going. I've got plenty more thoughts on this game. Let me get to a couple of the super chats, though. It's massively appreciated. Mike Mason said we were drunk, got what it deserved. I mean, I don't think they were literally drunk for what it's worth. I think these probably stopped drinking on Tuesday night. These are elite level athletes who, could probably process alcohol and be sober in about 2 hours, given their incredible athleticism and so on. But yeah, we got what we deserved today. And when you say there's a hangover, like when we say that they were hungover, I don't think they were literally hungover. But sometimes a hangover can be mental in terms of you're still sort of, your head's somewhere else a little bit. And that's what I feel the issue was today. William says, hi, Stephen, not the ending we wanted, but hey, we have a 4-P. With summer recruitment and Pep going back to get the team set up, we will be there. I absolutely agree. We've got to step back, and now is the time to do it. It does hurt, but I think it's fair to step back. I do feel this sort of control winger thing has sort of died a death. it very much is give it to Doku and pray right now. If that's the case, give it to Savio on the other side and pray as well. Let's make this dual-pronged wing attack actually effective. Let's make it so that when Doku gets the ball, everyone goes over, but then you can't not leave Savio free. That gives space for Foden or KD, whatever. We have to do that. You're absolutely right, William. We have to consider what we're going to bring in this summer. Thank you so much, William. Also, from Cassius, this might be the next motivation. We need to go again. This will sting the players. Bang on, mate. We do need to find a way to remind ourselves that this season wasn't perfect. And I think motivation and revenge is as good a motivator as anything. You're right, mate. You're right. Well, super chat here from Eddie says we need to have a hard thought about what players needed to go, man. This was shambolic showing from KDB, Walker, Stones and Silva. Pep also at fault. Pep got it wrong today. He absolutely did. Pep has plenty of credit in the bank, as do all those players. But today, KDB looked old. Walker looked old. Stones looked tired mentally. And Silva looked like a man near the end of his Man City career too. I don't want them all to go. That would be terrible. We cannot replace all those players. But one or two of those will. One or two of those might do, you know? And I think we're going to have to be honest about that, Eddie. I think you're right, mate. Brian says, I think Pep leaves after next season, so sad. That's a reaction, mate. You know, you never know. Start of next season, we're playing incredible football. You know, the new signings have gelled. Who knows how it goes? And I think I'm not worried about Pep at all right now. Weirdly, Pep might use this as a way to get a bit of revenge. That's how I feel. But yeah, I'm devastated. I'm devastated, but, you know, it's funny. I don't think anyone can throw at any of us. Your rival fans and all this kind of stuff can come in like, well done, man. We just won 4 in a row and smash records after the back of a treble with the club, with the current world champions. Like, you cannot throw any of us. Our failures this year only amplify just how bad you actually are. If this is our failure, what does everyone else make? United deserved it today, but we need to have a little bit of perspective and see what we've done while also focus on how we can fix next season. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I can't be angry at these players. And if I'm being honest, I felt like this could happen today. I tried to put on a brave face, but I did feel it. I did feel something didn't feel right. Didn't feel right for me. I wasn't as focused on the United game. I really wasn't. I wasn't. And I said maybe the nerves will come in on video, but it didn't happen for me. So I do wonder if we sort of took our eye off the ball a little bit. But it is what it is. It's done. Yaron Joyner with a super chat as well. Says, who would you get to improve the squad? It's a good question. To me, immediately, the two players that I think were linked that Savio come in. Bring Savio, and he's a great winger, one of the best in La Liga. He will bring dynamism to this team. Get him in. Absolutely. I'm a Bruno G fan. I think he's a great alternative to Rodri. I think Bruno Guimaraes can do more than a passing Gundogan impression. He can play 6 and 8. Absolutely want him in. And after that, I don't know, man. I'm not. Frimpong with a little bit of an option as if we ever do the Walker attacking thing. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I am not an expert at transfers. I want Savio to stay first and foremost, you know. I do. And maybe someone we don't know about. Maybe I would like Ryan Aït-Nouri as well, the Wolves fullback. I think he's a really good player. Something a little bit different from what Vardiel could do. Something like that, my friend. But thank you so much for the super chat. It's hugely appreciated. But I don't... I think that's harsh, Jacek. Saying City's players aren't... Look, people need to get a little bit of calm and composure here. See, the idea that these City's players aren't playing for the badge. A bad day is not a bad season. These players have written themselves into immortality. 4 leagues in a row. They've done something no one's ever done in English football. These players absolutely do play for the badge. But people are human. People need motivation. They need ideals. They need to feel it. And sometimes we need to remember these players have given us the greatest memories I will ever see in my life in football. They do care. You know, it was horrible today, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater and say these players are frauds and they don't care. It is just not true. It is just not true, and we need to remember that. We need to be calm about this. Be frustrated. But I think today was the inevitable result of what we've been through, which was so much success that it makes you a bit dizzy and you lose yourself. You're a little bit drunk, not on alcohol as such, but you're drunk on glory. And you need... Look, the Fat King is there on the throne, and sometimes they need to be challenged a little bit. And that's City right now. We are drunk and we feasted on glory. AMMC said that was horrible and need to move on Stones. And Kyle There's an argument about John Stones, given that he's not always available. I would keep him personally. Walker is on the cusp for me. Absolutely, I would probably agree, mate. Thank you for the super chat. I think one of those two will go. But I feel like we need to be composed. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Painful, but not the end of the world. And I think clear heads will realise that this season is probably the best we could have asked for, given everything we've been through. In a bit, Blues.